whatever, if it comes from some other country, I don't know what they're saying.
I'd like to see like silent movie porn where there's a scene and then all of a sudden there's the music and then all the words.
And then
they have that.
And then they have like a card that comes up that says, "I am getting aroused." And then the guy twists his mustache.
Don't they have? Didn't you ever see the Porky? Remember the first Porky's movie?
Yeah.
Weren't they watching something like they called it a stag film? And there was no sound, but it showed a guy with a really big bush and a girl with a really big bush on like a.
I don't remember that.
And they get caught watching it. What do they call it? Moral
turpitude. No, you're right. You're right. It was the
Second
they were watching it in the basement. It was all the politicians, right?
Yeah. The kids were watching it.
Elias, have you ever seen Porky's?
I've never seen.
Wow.
I've never seen the second one.
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
The second one's good. The third one's but the second one is.
Porky's was a teenage sex romp movie from the 80s that was.
It's kind of like your American Pie.
It was,
yes, exactly.
American Pie
very good.
took it to the next level. It had, Porky's was the one where the scene where there is supposed to be a shower scene full of like naked girls, and they're all really naked. And it's like
not
there's
just
no,
naked.
It's not,
none of them are wearing any socks or any bullshit like that.
Right.
No, and what I mean is
it was a true '80s tits and ass movie.
It showed, it was like the first movie where you had 15 girls in one room and they were showing all their parts.
Yes,
not just boobs.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. How old is Porky's?
It's come out like 1980, 81.
Yeah.
So early 80s.
What about Caligula?
Oh, now that was a movie there.
Oh, that came out like the cusp of the 70s.
Well,
like 79.
but that movie was also put out by Penthouse too.
Yeah.
But
that was way worse. That was like way more graphic than Porky's.
I seen that at the midnight movies, and I
missed that, man. The midnight movies used to be great.
Yeah, and I got to say that I think Caligula, it was probably one of the most accurately portrayed movies of that time. I think.
Yes, man. But I'm like sitting there thinking, like, why, like. There's a scene I remember where there's like it's like almost like a collection plate looking thing from church,
right?
And these like three guys are gathered around and they're just jerking off into this thing,
right?
Why would this happen?
Well, yet again,
explain this.
Yet again,
me.
Penthouse magazine. Bob Guccione was the one that did. But I'm still saying I think some of the debauchery
what happened where he was like sitting there just thinking of the scene. It's like, well, right when this happens, we're gonna have these three guys jerk off into this collection plate.
Well, that's nothing. Did you ever see the Doom Generation?
Is that really their 10%?
Well,
that's what I want to know.
They were given their due.
Is that really their 10% of what?
I never. What were you talking about, Luke?
Did you ever see the Doom Generation with Rose McGowan?
Yes.
Where Rose McGowan is fucking her boyfriend in the tub, and the guy's standing at the door, and he jerks off, and then he's got the jizz all over his hand, so then he licks it off.
Oh, fuck no.
And you were like, why? Why did this have to be included?
Okay.
It was a great scene up until that part.
But according to several women I've talked to, that's like really turns them on. Desiree's like, oh, that's so sexy. I'm like, that's disgusting.
Really?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that's too much for me to handle. But there was another movie.
I'm gonna go upstairs for a minute, guys. You keep going on with your thing.
I haven't tasted my jizz today,
or ever.
Elias is sitting over there. I have.
He's like, that's why he's so quiet.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
that's why he's so thin too. There's not much, there's not much calories in that.
Well,
a lot of protein.
What's the guy's name who was in Twister? And he played the
Bill Paxton.
No, the funny guy,
Bill Pullman, wrong
the big
Bill.
guy. Thomas C.
Thomas Howe? No, I know you're talking about Seymour.
Stupid. From
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah. He's in a movie, man. Where at the end of the movie, it's the weirdest. I can't think of the name of it. It's very strange, but like all kinds of. It basically shows like 5 different people's lives, and they all come together at the end, and what's going on in their lives, and there's like a child molester and a kid. Anyway, at the end of the movie,
Boogie Nights.
No. At the end of the movie, the kid, the son, is standing on the balcony, and he's looking down into the pool, and there's this really hot girl in a red bikini on a float, and she's floating there, and then the kid, it like insinuates that he starts whacking it right there while watching the girl.
Is this Fast Times at Ridgemont?
No, I don't know the name. I'll have to find out the name of it for you. But
I'm hearing Cars music.
the whole family is sitting at the table, drinking coffee or something. He comes walking in and looks at the family and goes, "I just came." And then they show, they show the bars from the balcony, and there's liquid running down it, and the dog runs out there and starts licking it. I'm not shitting you. I'm not.
What movies are you
I'm
watching?
gonna look at. I started watching it because
I'm Joe. I go to cumfest.com to find all my.
I started watching it because I thought it was like.
He thought it was a kung fu marathon. It was a kung fu marathon.
No, I thought it was like a vigilante type thing because I'll tell you why.
Guys just throw their
When I
sperm
turned it
around.
on, when I turned
I'll
on,
blind you with my sperm.
when I turned the movie on, there was a man coming out of his house with his wife and kids, and across the entire front of his house, somebody had spray painted pedophile across the entire. And I thought, man, this must be a movie where somebody's trying to get back at somebody that fucked with them. So I start watching the movie, and it wasn't like that at all. It was really obviously way different. I'll find out the name of the movie.
It wasn't the revenge flick you thought it was.
No, it wasn't.
Jeez.
I tell you, if we're talking about messed up movies, have you guys seen Antichrist with Willem Dafoe?
No,
He
thought you
played
were gonna
God
say-
and the Antichrist.
I want to see that. I forgot about that.
No,
I'm
no,
disappointed.
I mean,
I thought he was
no,
going to say with Johnny Depp.
No,
right.
it really has nothing to do with him being the Antichrist or anything, but him and his wife have this seriously demented relationship, and she does things to his private parts. That's all I'll give you. You should watch it. It's disgusting.
Oh yeah, I should watch it. It's disgusting. Thank you.
Luke will say private parts instead of penis,
Yeah.
dick, cock, or take your choice.
I'm trying to keep it mysterious.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, how many private parts does Willem Dafoe have in this movie?
You never know, but
Well,
it is. But
Once
it
you've
is
done
private.
something to one of them,
It is called Antichrist.
It could be
What's
his
going
elbow.
on?
His elbow could be very private. didn't it?
Right. He has a penis
I
on
always
his
keep
elbow.
it covered.
Okay, fine. She hits him in his hard penis with a log.
Well,
Oh,
that was
damn.
And then she jerks him off, and blood squirts all over her face.
Yeah, I'd tell her I don't want to see her any longer.
I think it's over.
I think it's over, and I need
She
to.
already pulled the Lorena Bobbitt.
And call 911, please.
yeah. But when I saw the log, I would have started running.
That to me, that genital mutilation or that to me, it's like That's just crazy, man. I mean, I don't want nobody sticking a heel of a fucking pump down my urethra. I've seen that, and I'm just like, that just hurts my dick just looking at that.
Yeah, it's kind of making me want to grab mine right now.
I know, it's awful. It's just absolutely.
Not my urethra, Peggy.
Okay, the name of the movie is called Happiness.
It sounds unhappy.
Yeah, that sounds miserable.
Oh my God, Peggy, you've put your pump down in my urethra.
No. I'm talking about the movie with that I was talking about where the kid is. Anyway, who cares?
The pedophile.
Yes, it's called Happiness. Okay, Star Wars.
Oh yeah, Star Wars.
Who has whacked it to Princess Leia in the third movie?
I have. Yes,
Really?
about a week ago, actually.
The scene. I actually think the scene where she jumps up on the gun and it spins around and it kind of shows stuff.
Right.
That's the best scene.
Yeah.
It kind of showed stuff.
Well,
I gotta see it under the brass a little bit.
What was your favorite? I guess hands down, it's the hands down your pants. It's the slave costume.
Was that a missed
know.
opportunity there almost?
Yeah, I guess.
Elias,
Yes,
your actual favorite Star
I
Wars
confirm.
movie.
Yeah, tell us.
the seventh one.
That's actually relevant in some
Yeah.
people's minds.
Right.
No, for real, which one? Like for me, it's Empire.
Mine too.
Yeah,
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire has so much.
A New Hope.
I'm gonna have to go with Attack of the Clones. Oh, were we talking about our favorite ones or least favorite ones?
Our favorite ones. Yeah.
New
Again,
Hope is a
Attack
good
of
one
the
too.
Clones? No.
Yeah.
No, I'd agree with Empire.
Empire. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Luke?
It's pretty close between Empire and Jedi, but I'm leaning more towards Empire.
Jedi is really good because it has so many more places. You know, it seems like they're, you know, you're on the planet, you're on the planet, you're fighting at the Death Star, you're in the Death Star.
One of my favorite scenes in Jedi, and I always think it was really great seeing on the big screen, was the
chase,
the speeders.
Yeah,
and with the
in 3D, that's gonna rock.
Oh man, no kidding.
I'm gonna puke.
I also,
Chewbacca.
I also wonder if they will add a few little extras just because of its 3D. Just to try to
like being shot at.
Well, yeah, lasers coming out of.
They should.
Do you think you'll ever see a movie in our time that will surpass Star Wars in that kind of revolutionary sort of cinematic?
That's a good one.
I think Inception did a pretty close job with it.
I didn't care for that movie, I have to say.
Yeah, but that's not a movie. Even I think it's a good movie, but it's not really
revolutionary.
It's not going to build a franchise.
No, I don't see I don't see like a part 2 or 3 or prequels or anything.
Since
there's not going to be an Inception convention.
Yeah.
Since Star Wars.
Hey, I'm dressed up like Ellen Page, when she was wearing that, that regular kind of sweater and the corduroys.
I came as the thimble.
I don't know how you guys feel about it. But
I'm Michael Caine.
Since Star Wars came
that
out,
fucker that came as Spock.
Yeah.
I think the only movie that I've ever watched that I enjoyed it, where it was. Where somebody, when I asked somebody what was that movie like, and they said it was like as good as Star Wars on the same. I really thought The Fifth Element was great.
Well, the only thing I didn't like about Fifth Element was Chris Tucker's character.
Yeah.
But I did like that movie. I thought the visuals was really good.
Chris Tucker was funny though.
Plus your guys in there. Oldman. Gary Oldman.
Yeah, Gary Oldman. Great villain, great actor, one of my favorites. But that was my only kind of disappointment with Fifth Element was Chris Tucker. I just thought it was a little too much.
They wanted Prince to play that character, but he passed it up.
Well, and good for him. But
yeah.
I think they could have just omitted that character completely. But
it wasn't really pivotal to.
Yeah, but
right.
It wasn't. It wasn't. But when you put him and Bruce Willis together, he played off of him pretty good.
I'll tell you something else I was watching the other day. I was watching the Blues Brothers. We're talking about Star Wars and Princess Leia.
Today and I had to flip the channel.
And we're talking about Carrie Fisher and Star Wars and I was watching Blues Brothers and I was thinking to myself, all those scenes with her in it, trying to kill Jake. It's really funny, but you could take every one of those scenes out of that movie, every bit of that, and take it out, and it would never have no bearing on that whole script. It was always like
it was just an extra little stupid thing.
Yeah, but it was just sort of gratuitous to the point there was no real backstory of it until you get to that very end, and then it's just like, oh yeah, Jake fucked her over clearly, but
yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is the same as this because that to me that was compelling. Like, why the fuck is she blowing him up?
Yeah.
What the hell? Right after that first,
but I'm
scene
just
where they
saying,
blow him up in the apartment. Like, why? What is going on through this bitch's mind to go?
Well, I agree, but I'm just saying if you took all that out, it would have not changed the dynamic of the Blues Brothers, getting the money and going through all that shit. Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah, but it's like a necessary side thing. It's like R2-D2 and C-3PO.
Yeah, I know. It's the comic relief, and everything. But I don't know. I just thought it was just a, it could have been taken out. It wasn't my favorite part of the Blues Brothers. Although Carrie Fisher did look good in that. I thought there was one point she was wearing pigtails, which I thought was a tad strange that a woman her age was wearing pigtails. I think when you're a certain age and you're wearing pigtails, there's just either something inherently wrong with you or you have no fashion sense whatsoever.
Yeah, it's like the older girls get to, the less like plastic things you see in their hair.
Yeah,
and I really believe that we have to make sure that we mention Fanboys
Great movie.
as one of the best odes to Star Wars ever.
But why wasn't Lucas in? That's the only thing that made me mad that they was at the Skywalker Ranch and Lucas couldn't even make a cameo.
It wasn't really the Skywalker Ranch, though.
Well, big deal. I mean, they could have still made
the stuff that they did. It's like,
You've seen Fanboys, didn't you, Justin?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I watch that movie and they get into